Hello and welcome back to my garage. Little tip, in the original French it's pronounced with a soft G like giraffe. So what I got for cleaning this motor is this junk called mineral spirits. It's flammable. It's basically like paint thinner or gasoline, kerosene. It's in that family of solvents. So basically just spray that on and rub it off. So let's go ahead and dive in. So what we got here is we used the old hoist to pull the motor off the engine stand, and we tilted it and set it on its end to expose the back. This is where that big bracket held it on to the engine stand. So naturally we couldn't get it cleaning this and dealing with these freeze plugs. I already did the rest of the motor. So today I'm just going to clean this section and bang out these two freeze plugs, which is literally just banging them out. So here and here, those guys are freeze plugs. What freeze plugs are for is twofold. Apparently they're useful for casting the engine. When you're forging something, you need points to pour in the molten metal into the mold or whatever the heck they do. So that's the first reason why freeze plugs exist. The second reason is for in cold climates, when water freezes, it expands, and that could crack your block in half. So they put in these designed failure points, freeze plugs, so that if and when the liquid in the motor freezes, as it expands, it will pop out the freeze plugs and not crack your block.
Punch.
Now that I've got it pounded into its hole, the freeze plugs are made, I think, of brass is what they look like, but I can get these tin snips in here, and with my gorilla hand strength, I can just cut a slit down the side, and I want to fold this bad boy over like a beer cap, kind of taco shaped, and pull them out. So I put a slit in one side, and then I can rotate it 180 degrees, and get a slit on the other side. Now I've got that. Reach in here with some whatever I got, pliers, channel locks, in this case vice grips, and just start bending the crap out of it.
This will take a while.
Whew, I just tucked that up in the motor. That's up in the water jacket and appears to be almost irretrievable. So that is not good. How do I get that? A magnet. Please let brass be magnetic. Brass is not magnetic. Great. So she's lost to eternity, perhaps. I'll figure out how to fish them out. Maybe I could reach in with the dental pick and hook him. Yeah. Got him. Okay. So that's a danger I need to avoid. Important safety tip. My strategy is I'm going to put as many cuts around the edge of that freeze plug cap, and all of those caps will allow it to just collapse in on itself like the American political system.
Here we go. Almost out.
Got him. Yahtzee. So there's the cap. That's how it sat in the engine. That's the back of it. And I put a whole bunch of cuts around the edge there to get it to deform as I yanked on it. Easy as pie.
Ooh, that's my finger. There you go. There, see that? Come on. There we go.
Using these snips to cut these makes me think of the little known fact that the average man's grip strength is 16 times stronger than that of a woman. And that is why you should never, ever grab one of the good reasons why you should never, ever grab a woman. Because could you imagine like a chimpanzee grabbing you by your upper arm, feeling that strength differential? Be absolutely horrifying. Don't do that.
Ah, got it. Okay. What do you do after that? Oh, what are we gonna do?
Hey, come on. Yep. Ha! There you are. Got him. Cut that bad boy all the way around. So, that is, in a nutshell, how you get out freeze plugs. But an interesting note, and I'll try to take you around the motor to show you this. So, those freeze plugs plug the holes to what's known as the water jacket. The water jacket is probably about 50% of the empty space inside an engine. The empty space inside an engine isn't just the combustion chambers where the pistons are and all the tubes and whatever that and reservoirs that hold the motor oil. It's also the water jacket, which holds the water or the coolant. So I'm gonna show you this. That's the top end. Those are where the pistons will go. There and there. All of these penetrations that you can see are rusted out a little bit. All of those go into the water jacket. And you can can you see? You can see in there, there's a cylinder. That's the opposite side of the cylinder. It's the opposite shape of that. You can see in here, here's the inside of the cylinder, right, where the piston goes. And then around the side of the motor, right here, this is where one of the freeze plugs went. And this stuff that I was touching, let me get a screwdriver. This stuff in here, that's the back side. That's the back side of the cylinder. And this area is where all the coolant circulates. Hopefully I can edit that into something you can understand. Probably not. So now that we got the freeze plugs out, next step is to clean this up. You might have noticed all this liquid in here. Last night I took some of that mineral spirits, put it in an old squirt bottle, hose this section down, and just let it marinate overnight to loosen up all of that grease. Today, it's time to scrape and rub and just get it off.
Okay, that's good enough. For the next step, just wanted to get some of the bigger stuff. Stop this mess up. See what I'm doing, see where I'm at, see what the progress is.
Step 2. Power tools. Already coming right back around.
I'm gonna let some crannies in there.
You want to really man spread down on this thing while you do it. Gives you more power if you tap into your chi. This compressor sucks. It looks like it's an Allen wrench. Yep, that's an Allen wrench. Get the old cheater bar. Bucket of warm water. Dawn dish soap. Say that 10 times fast. You want to just slather this bad boy in this stuff, because he's dirty. The big kind of moppy shop brush, dustpan brush, whatever you call it. Usually gets the suds up. Here we go. So if you're looking at me doing this and you're wondering, Mike, what the hell are you doing? You're putting water all over this motor. You've just stripped all the oil off of it. Once you rinse it off, it's just gonna rust out and be a big pile of rust. And my answer to that would be, inside the water jacket used to have liquid in there. That liquid has now been drained out for weeks at this point. It is all kinds of rusty inside this motor. So it doesn't really matter if the outside of the motor gets rusty, because we're gonna do a procedure that's really wacky and involves molasses to get all of the rust out and off of this motor at a later point. And the next step is, all of these bolt holes have been getting worn and torn and full of grease and all kinds of stuff for the past almost 50 years. So they're a little bit worse for wear. So these guys are called taps and dies. I'm not sure if this is a tap or a die, it's irrelevant to me. But what he's gonna do is, he's super hard steel, and he can recut those threads. Basically, I'm not actually trying to cut new threads. What I'm trying to do is grind out all the gunk and grease and dirt and Loctite and everything else that's down inside all these bolt holes, so they're as clean as can be as well, so that when I do assembly, it'll be that much easier.
Again, because this will cut new threads if I allow it to, which would be bad, because then you have two sets of threads and you'd never get a bolt down here. So I'm going to go down and cut all that grime out until it bottoms out, going straight down and come straight back up. Take this guy out, put it and keep it level.
Plumb, rather. And as I pull that out, I don't know if you can see, in those channels, it's got that grit and grime. The mustache problem. Don't be afraid to get in that mustache. Got the old grinder out and supported on them yoga mats so it won't walk away on us. And now we're gonna clean up these valves. You can see all that disgusting carbon built up on there. They're all gross and nasty. And we're just gonna bring them back to their original shine and luster. Why don't you just clean your valves? Just take responsibility for your motor and clean your valves. And maybe your life wouldn't be so bloody miserable. Maybe your car would fulfill you. So, bad news. These are, I don't know if you can see. You can see all this pitting and basically chips taken out around right where it seats. I can tell in IRL that they're really dinged up and deformed, and that is not good. I think we might ought to just buy new valves. So this looks pretty gross. I'm not happy with that, but we'll see. So that's the basic gist of the cleaning process I've been doing for the motor, the cylinder heads, the valve train, every nut and bolt in the damn motor. I also scrubbed the inside of the engine compartment. It's just a whole lot of cleaning. We still got a lot more to go. Like I said, we're gonna do some bizarre thing where you get a 55-gallon trash can, you fill it up with water and pumpkin molasses. You stick the whole bad boy in there and leave it for a week, and it just pulls all that rust right out of the motor. So we'll see what kind of results we get from that, and then we'll go on to painting and assembly. which I'm really looking forward to because this motor needs to get back in this car so I can make a Knight Rider spoof video. As always, I'm Mike. This has been the latest installment of My Garage, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.